Yep. Stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, call the meeting.
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda.
We've got one change on number 17. We need to add Casey Ball to the awards, service awards.
Okay, with that change, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
All right,
Aye.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes for June 4th, 2024.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Meetings attended.
I met with, what I call Alliant Utilities on the separation of the gas and the power on the old jail in this building. Once that was done, then they directed me, I had to meet with some contractors because they have to put power boxes, meter boxes on and get all that. So we're getting some quotes together on that. In the mix of that, we're anticipating solar, I'm assuming. So apparently the meter box has to be a special meter box. So I have a call into Redline to find out exactly what they are looking for, so we don't have to do this twice. We can do it once and be done with it. So as soon as I hear back from Redline, I'll move on to let the contractors know, and we'll get some quotes here in the next meeting or two, I hope. Yesterday we had Louisa County Conservation meeting. One of the big topics was there was a bench that was donated and there was a plaque put on it, and what was written on the plaque is a bit contentious in the family. I guess a friend had done it, and the word tumultuous, I can't say the word, but they didn't like that word. And so one of the family members showed up and expressed her displeasure at that, and we're gonna work on getting that changed. We're gonna put a new policy in place where anybody that donates a bench or a memorial or whatever, either it's money and the county buys the bench, so everything's the same, or they have a certain bench that they can purchase and it will say one of two things: in memory of, or in loving memory, or something like that, so we don't go down this path again. But we're working on getting that changed. The director said we had 9 applicants for the open position. They lined up 4 interviews and they'll be starting today, and hopefully the beginning of July we'll have someone hired. For maintenance, the lumber for the Virginia Grove dock has been ordered. And at Chickapin, the stone is all done on the columns for the shelter house, including the fireplace is fixed, and the railings are ordered. There's also some talk about the Snively access. Apparently that road is used by the South End cabin owners in the winter, but it's owned and managed by Louisa County. There's some damage that's happening to the road, and they plow the road in the winter. They pay for that, but there's some liability there in case something happens. So they're in discussions whether or not they should close the road for the winter, but that's more than likely going to upset some cabin owners. So we're working out some details on that. There will be an environmental mock-up oil spill in Columbus Junction on 9/11. They're going to close River Forks access north of, or I guess kind of north of Columbus Junction. for 3 or 4 hours that day and pretend that there's an oil spill. So
Who's putting that on?
a company called Rio, RIO, Environmental. Never heard of them, but so we granted access for them to close that.
Is that through EMA or?
I'm assuming Brian knows about it. I don't know how he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Brian seems to know everything about emergencies, so we can ask him. I think he's on the thing today. No, he's not on today. But I'm sure he's gonna be down there. So,
Sounds good. Anything else,
no, that's enough.
Chris?
We'll discuss this more when we get to Al on the agenda, but I talked with Paul Groof and he's our policy procedure man, and he's come up with a policy for us to look at for public notice. Yeah, all I got.
The only thing I have is, we trimmed some trees over at the courthouse, branches hanging down, got that done Tuesday or Wednesday, whatever day it was last week. No meetings. Started the month. And that's it. Public input.
I have a concern, and I think this is where I can enter in. So last week there was a situation with an individual who has special needs that needed a photo ID and was turned away from the treasurer's office, saying that he had to make an appointment and the earliest he could do was June 20th. And it wasn't a license, it was just a photo ID, and was told he can go to Burlington or Muscatine and see if they can get him in on the same day. So my concern is, why are we turning money, I mean, that he would have paid away from Louisa County? And why can the individual go to Burlington or Muscatine and get in the same day, but not Louisa County? And I come from a special ed background, so it's very frustrating to me that there wasn't a simple accommodation that could be made for this individual. But I would say really just anyone in Louisa County should be able to have that access to just go in. I know at one point there was a comment made that they don't have enough staff. And that's frustrating too, because there's 3 workers plus Vicky. So I would just, and I know you guys are just in charge of the budget from what I hear, but I don't know who else to go to.
Vicky's online. I'll see if I can get her to weigh in on that.
Well, while you're waiting with her, I did field 2 separate phone calls on this issue, one of them, and some text, and one of them was from Sarah. I did make some investigatory work on that, and I came over unannounced. When I walked in, there was only one person in the office at that time. One customer, I should say, and all 3 girls, I didn't see Vicky, but all 3 girls were there. And then I came in later in the afternoon and there was no one in the office, no customers in the office, but so I didn't want the excuse that they were too busy. So I did do that, and I will have to admit, that's one of the things that bothers me about that office. And I've raised those concerns myself personally before I was supervisor. I agree.
It's just frustrating that
for the people.
where we can go to Burlington, Muscatine, so they have a different procedure than Louisa County. And another thing with like autism, so, you know, going into a large environment that's noisy can also be a trigger. And so when we say go down to Burlington or Muscatine, those offices are much larger and busier than Louisa County. But yeah, just any individual in our county should be able to get in on the same day. I don't think we're that large of a county, but. So that's.
Yeah.
My
We'll
concern.
look into it a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Vicky says she has no mic on this computer, so she
Oh.
cannot.
Okay.
We'll follow up.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Brad, I noticed that you don't vote on issues when they come up for a motion. Does this chairman not vote? Is that correct? He just works ties.
Ties.
That's all they do? Okay, I didn't know and I just wanted to ask.
Yeah,
So any vote is to favor or to against? Okay.
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to hear what Sean said, because I left when you were
Sure.
talking.
I said that I came over to see if there were too many people in the place. When I came over, there was only one customer in there, but all three girls were working. I didn't see you, but I saw three girls working. And then later in the afternoon, I came back over and there was no customers in the counter.
Which there are times that there aren't any, but we have appointments set up with people. If I have an appointment set up for 3:15, someone comes in at 3:10. I'm not gonna take that walk-in when I have an appointment coming at 3:15. If they wanna sit and wait, nobody shows up, then we take walk-ins. But only if somebody doesn't show up. We have those appointments per the DOT. That's why we do that. And that's not the only thing we do in our office. We have all of the taxes we take care of, all the motor vehicle. We have phone calls from 10,000 people that we take every day. We have lots of things we do in there. That's not our only thing. So we can't. I want to take everybody. I want to be able to take every person and be able to get all the money in Wise County. But with only 4 of us and all the jobs we do in that office, it's very hard to do. I know you may walk in and there may be nobody in there, but that isn't that way all the time. And there may be the appointment person hasn't showed up yet. That's, you know, that happens.
But when
sometimes.
I walk in with license plates, I'm helped immediately.
On the license plate side, you might have to wait. But driver's license, that takes you, when someone walks in, you never know how long it's gonna take. Might be an easy one. Or you might come in and when we bring you up, you might have on your record 5 different things. We have to call the state. It
But
takes
this
25 minutes
particular
to do that.
instance, it was just a photo ID.
Just a photo ID is not always just a photo ID. It could take longer too. We don't know until we get into the situation. And the DOT has told us that we keep the appointments first. If you have someone that doesn't show up, we can take a walk-in, and we do that. If you look at our schedules, we write down when we take a walk-in and we keep track of that, which we don't save them afterwards, but.
So who? Then why is it like what she said? Why is it that they can walk into Burlington or Muscatine?
Because Burlington and Muscatine are state stations that have 5 and 6 issuance PCs. We have 1. And we don't have enough staff to keep that PC going all the time and do all of our other jobs. Burlington has a staff member for each of those PCs. They're a state station. Burlington is and Muscatine is. They have 5 issuance PCs. They work people through faster than we can. We only have 1. And we're only a pilot station, so we're only allowed 1. And even if we were given another one, we wouldn't have enough staff to run 2. So that's why we look out faster.
Okay, well, we got that. When can we get this person?
He's already got it.
He's already
Went
got
down
it.
to Burlington and got it the same
Okay,
day.
okay.
Because sometimes they can get them in right away because if they have a cancellation.
I just
or
wanna make
something.
sure we-
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
and we do try to help people get into other places. We try and get them a place to go. We don't just say, sorry, see you later. I mean, we do try and help people get into other places. We don't want to send them out of Louisa County, but when we can't get them in, we don't want to just say, see you later and leave them hanging. We try and get them help to get in somewhere.
You don't have anybody else that needs a photo ID that we can get scheduled? Okay.
So is it the DOT that we then, I mean, like, how does this change?
The DOT wants us by appointment. Until they tell us different, we are issuing that through them with a 2080 agreement, so that's why we keep it that way by appointment. Until they change that, I won't be changing that, so. But we do the best we can, and if you ever have any problems with any staff or anything there, please contact me. They don't run that, I do, so just give me a call. I take phone calls anytime.
So
I'll do what I can.
who at the DOT do we need to talk to about that?
I would say probably, I've got a state number, it would be probably Daniel Ye, he's the head of that section. I've talked to him about it numerous times, and I mean, there's a couple counties that have bucked it, and they got a lot more problems than those of us who keep with the 2080 agreement, because that's why we signed that, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem, nope, no problem.
Bunch of planner guys, you ready?
Yeah, for sure. I'll get that number, there, Sarah. I'll get the person's name and number. I'm gonna call.
I'm sure you know it. Yeah, give you guys a quick update. This is the updated project schedule as of 2 Fridays ago. So May 31st. So as of now, they're still moving sand from. Yeah. Excuse me, I'm sorry. The Deep Lakes County Park up there, they're moving sand from there down to Brad Moss's property there.
And they have started.
They have started, yep, they're basically done with all of, or at least most of the sand for the overtop, the hard overtop. And then they're now moving sand to improve the levee upstream of that down still in Louisa County, so. They're probably about halfway done with, I'd say, the sand movement for the Louisa County portion.
Was it done that quick?
Yeah, it's just been really about 2 weeks of moving sand. They haven't shaped it quite the way they want to at this point, but they're at least have about half of the sand on site that they're gonna use for Louisa County. And then at that point, once they finish that up, which will probably be mid to late June, they will start hauling sand to the Muscatine County portion for that level improvement, and then they're gonna start working on the turf and cement portion of that hardened structure. So that will probably take at least 6 weeks or so. So there's still going to be some traffic in and out on X61 there, kind of at that corner, but hopefully it'll be a little bit less consistent. It'll be more just bringing material and then working on it instead of truck traffic on X61. So
How much interaction have you had? Everything, infrastructure, everything holding up good?
yeah, I mean, we've been keeping an eye on it. Adam, I know, let me know if there was maybe some mud on the road a week or so ago, but we took a look at it. It looked like it was better now that they're kind of, the problem I think initially was that the river was up, they were having a bit of soft spots on the toe, and so they were maybe dragging some of that stuff out. But I think now that they're kind of working on sand, it's not quite an issue, so. Seems to be they cleaned it up when we were out there, so. But it'll probably still, I think they're looking to be done, wrapped up completely in September for that with the whole structure there. So it's going to be a bit more time, but hopefully a little bit less traffic after this month.
Looks like they're ahead of schedule, but
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't thinking so with the way they kind of had some wet days in there where they couldn't do much, and then the river has been up, but it hasn't been an issue seepage wise. They haven't really had, they've had a little bit of moisture there, but they kind of just kept rolling the flow and it was holding up well. So hoping they kind of keep to that schedule and they don't slow down at all with that structure itself. I'm still giving them until September. Just, I mean, I'm guessing
Right.
it's kind of a new thing for them, so we'll see how they do with that. You have any other questions? I mean, we try to keep Adam up on.
no, thank you for keeping us
What's going on?
updated on this also too. This is, it's far enough away, we don't see it happening
Yep.
every day, so this is good to get this update. See where we're at. You
Yeah.
guys got any other questions? Thank you
I'm
so
surprised
much.
we were able to work that much with the river being that high.
Yeah,
On that
I
levee.
think too. I mean, it's really, the seepage becomes an issue when it's up for multiple months. And it hasn't been quite up to where it was in 2019
Yeah.
for a long duration, so
Good.
as long as it keeps swinging and doesn't stay up, I think
Yeah.
it'll be all right.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to hope it doesn't rain too much up in Minnesota.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, 8:45. Just a little bit off.
Yep, you're fine. The first thing is we have to draw lots. The libertarian race for Board of Supervisors, we have a 4-way tie for the libertarian race. There is Hunt, Hardin, Mike Reed, and Stevens on the libertarian race for write-ins. Being there's been nobody on the libertarian race before, any write-in on the libertarian race could possibly get it. So Selena has the basket over there with the 4 names that will need to be drawn.
But you have 2 that theoretically went to the Republican side, right?
Yes, so they would have to distinguish if whoever wins on the Libertarian race, if they would want to accept the Republican or the Libertarian
Okay.
race. More than likely, I would see them
I would
taking
think so.
the Republican,
Mhm.
but, it's formality that they have to go, because I won the Libertarian race on the Snedler, for auditor, and Brandon Marquette won it, or Marquardt, won it for the sheriff, so it's
Okay,
just formality, you know. That we have to do this, so Selena has the 4 names and she'll fold them up, put them in the basket, and we'll draw who gets it.
all right.
I'm like the chairman job.
Who was the other two?
I'm sorry,
Who was the other two?
Stevens, Hunt, Hardin, and Mike Reed.
Two, right?
Two, or one.
No, you're just picking one,
One.
because Scott Hunt won one of them spelled correctly, and then it's Hunt just by itself,
Mike Reed.
that is Mike Reed. Oh, wow. Okay. So, that being said. I need my copy real quick and we'll start.
Make it either on, so item 9, we'll just table to the next two.
Okay, table mine.
Yeah, would you please do that?
Okay, I'll make a motion to table item 9. Keep our veterans up there.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion. Next one, please.
Right, this thing is.
Yeah. I'll leave it out.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, right,
Thank you.
yep. I do need all 3 of these copies signed.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry. And then there's some canvas, you'll have to flip. These 3 will have to be signed after we're done, but you'll start by the bags. Yeah, and you.
Do we need to caucus any of this stuff?
Yep, we're gonna have to read it all.
Okay.
Sorry, I'll start at page 1.
Okay.
All right, we have US Representative District 1, Mariette Miller Meeks, one with 334.
Sure.
State Senator 48, Mark Lachlan got 496.
Correct.
State Representative District 95, Taylor Collins got 483.
Correct.
County Board of Supervisors, Republican. We have Kevin Harden that received 294, Scott Hunt received 344, and Jonathan Houston 162, and Mike Reed 200. With the 35 split between Harden and Hunt, both of those move forward.
There's a blank sheet in there too.
Yeah, it's for signature. For auditor, Susan Snedler, 485. Brandon Marquardt got 504 for sheriff.
Correct.
Christina Bohannon, 97 for US Representative District 1 for Democrat.
Correct.
State Senator District 48, Democrat, John DeBeat at 96.
Okay.
State Rep 95, Democrat, Jeff Butler, 99.
Correct.
And for Board of Supervisors, Democrats, there was just scattering, there wasn't enough for a vote. And for auditor, the same thing, just scattered. And sheriff for Democrat, same thing. And US Representative District 1 for Libertarian, there was no write-ins. State Senator District 48 Libertarian, 0. State Representative 95 Libertarian, 0. And for County Auditor Libertarian, Snedler, spelled wrong. County Sheriff Libertarian, Marcourt, just last name, 2 votes. And then we have Libertarian for Supervisor. We have Scott Hunt with 2 votes and Mike Reed by the draw.
I don't have a paper.
I don't have.
I know, I was waiting for. Well, I guess I have one here. I just need 2 of those signed, so we'll just have 2 of those. I don't have to send that to the city. And that's it. I can sign it anyway.
And there's the deeds there to sign.
And that sheet that's under your right hand. I see I have to sign that one.
For our next thing on the agenda, please.
Yeah.
Oh, 4.
Sorry.
Washington State.
How many did you want this before?
Probably 4.
That policy for the.
Yeah. You want a copy? Okay.
I got it. No problem.
That needs to go to Brad. Time.
Sort of. These are all gonna be messed up.
Oh,
So you hear that, those are gonna be messed up.
that's fine. I gotta pull them apart anyway to send them to, so it's all good. Yeah.
So they're gonna be all, you know,
You get all of Chris's, no, he's still.
like Gaten Clark after the game. Everybody checks.
Needs Chris's signature. This one does too. Chris. Chris, you're slacking.
I'm slacking. I think Sean must have showed up early and signed it. Kind of.
Yeah, these have all of ours. Sure.
No, sorry, just like go through all the ground.
One.
Something like that.
But if I'll contact my grade leader and let him know he's one libertarian and he can accept it within 7 days. And I'll contact Scott too, but I'm sure he'll talk to the Republican. Yep. I'll let you on the ground.
Oh, me too, man. You're on the ground. You still need your autograph too.
Well, now,
All these need your autograph also.
the libertarian party got a whole layer of signatures.
Yeah, okay.
How do you want to start with,
Just was here to hear what the follow-up from a few weeks ago.
man right beside you is the one that.
So I was contacted by a board member about, what's the current process or what are we doing as it relates to the placement of public notices? And I know the specific is a specific request related to a public hearing. And still the thought would be is, hey, maybe this would be a time to take a look at how we do it overall. And so I went and looked at Iowa code specifically related to public notice. Basically it says, in part of reasonable notice shall include advising the news media who have filed a request for notice from the governmental body and posting the notice on a bulletin board or other prominent place which is easily accessible to the public and clearly designated for that purpose at the principal office or the body holding the meeting, or if no such office exists, the building in which the meeting is held. The other part of that is with the official newspapers. So Iowa Code Chapter 349, the Board of Supervisors shall, at the January session each year, select the newspapers in which the official proceedings shall be published for the ensuing year. So for my style, that's kind of the baseline, the minimum standards. And so I thought, hey, this is a good time to touch base with all of our external boards and commissions and say, hey, where do you put it? Where do you post your agenda? And what I found is we're a little bit all over the board. So this would be a great time, I think, to have the board take a leadership role in saying, hey, this is what we're going to plan to do. And then whichever decisions the board make today would be something that I can follow up with those external boards and commissions and say, hey, here's something to consider. The assessor's office, it looks like they make their posting for the conference board on the assessor's office door, the door into the office, and also on the courthouse entrance door. And just as a quick follow-up, I had a few questions. Do we have an official, Selena, do you know? Selena, do we have an official bulletin board? Or agenda is mostly put on the door of the courthouse?
We put it on each of the doors of the courthouse. And then we do have bulletin boards on the front, in the front entrance of the courthouse. There's a bulletin board on each side that people, we post the township trustee meetings and anybody can like post up there.
So that was one that, when I got response back that we posted at the courthouse, and I didn't know if that would be the door of the bulletin board specifically, but that's the assessor's office. The Board of Supervisors, courthouse entrance door. The agenda is emailed to cities, emailed to libraries, placed in the Hawkeye newspaper, sent out to local or to Louisa County Department emails, Louisa County website, and also the Muscatine Journal newspaper. The Conservation Board does it on the entrance door, courthouse door, the Louisa County website, and Columbus Gazette newspaper. Emergency Management posted on the courthouse entrance door and also the meeting location entrance door. Public Health does the courthouse door, public health door, the Louisa County website, and specifically to some individual named Jim Louisa. I'm not sure who that is, sounds kind of sketchy.
We don't either.
I believe that.
It's on his front door and his house.
How far in advance do meetings and posting now?
It depends on the meeting. Public hearings, I think, they vary. So I think a public hearing has to be posted. It has to be between like 4 and 20 days. If it's a public hearing related to a budget amendment, I think it has to be between 10 and 20 days. Any other official board, just like a regular board meeting, has to be posted 24 hours in advance. So they do vary depending on what the meeting is for. Now, right, a lot of our information is now gained through social media, like it or not. So the board can say, we know what the minimum is, we want to expand that. So you could, add it to website or other, Facebook pages, depends on what that office or department may have. If it is included, if the board decides to include it on social media sites, I would say that we need to be specific as to where it's going to be. So as I look at this countywide, I don't know, is conservation posting it on the general, like when I first go to the conservation or the Louisa County website? Or do I have to get to the conservation page to find it? I think some consistency there would be great. And then again, as we talked about, whatever the board establishes, I think that would be a great starting point to go back to those external boards and commissions to say, hey, the goal here is to be transparent. We really want to encourage participation from the community, and the better we do of getting that information out, the better. If we do expand the public notice requirements, and again, that would be a standard we're setting ourselves, then there will be another section within the handbook that will need to change. So not related to it, but whenever we post, every single time there's a job that's open in the county, with the veteran preference law 35C, we have an obligation to post that in the same manner that we do board meetings. Okay, so if the board meetings changed, then I would recommend that we change that portion of the handbook as well as the follow-up. So it's just really, board can create a new standard. I don't know exactly what the impetus was, but this is great. To me, this is exactly how government's supposed to work. You have somebody that brings up an idea, board's like, let's talk about it. Let's come up with a different or better way to do it, and maybe look for some ways to improve the consistency countywide. So, to me, are we now going to say, okay, it's gotta be put on a bulletin board? I mean, the code does say bulletin board. So, are we gonna now say they're gonna put on the bulletin board and on the doors to the courthouse? Board of Supervisors, I would assume would be on is it on the general front page? Or do you go to the Board of Supervisors where the agendas are posted now? I mean, that's where it is now. And then with the departments or offices, would this board recommend that, that those external boards and commissions, the Public Health Conference Board, MA, that you go to their specific website to find that? If there is a recommendation to include, I mean, who are right now, who are our official newspapers?
We have, it's actually two. It's, used to be Waffle Morning Sun, now they're together in Columbus Junction.
Okay.
But I was wondering on that too, is a good point, is they've always, and Al brought this up, they always publish it in the back. Can we ask him to publish it more toward the front? Would that make a difference more than, because you said the comment was, nobody reads that back page because there's so much stuff on it. And I just wondered if maybe if we ought to ask our papers to put it in a different position.
Well, simplicity is key here.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about the Louisa County website, for instance. There should be a page that says upcoming meetings. And that should be updated every week.
And that's something easily done.
And that's so easy. You start thinking about posting the stuff at all the doors, that's fine for the people that live here in Wapello. But if you live at the northwest corner of this the county or southeast, how often do you come to the courthouse to see what the meetings are on? You don't. This young lady and her points about the treasurer's office, and from my perspective, Sean, there ought to be a phone number in the minutes that come out of this meeting saying who all the rest of the people in the county can call. If we flooded that office in Ankeny with a whole pile of phone calls, we could instill some change. But we can't do it if we don't know what's going on, if we don't know the phone numbers, we don't know who the contacts are. So transparency is key if we're gonna fix a lot of the issues that we have in government, and it's gotta start local. You're not gonna start in DC. So
Does the Board of Supervisors have a Facebook page?
We do now.
Does the Louisa County have a Facebook page?
The sheriff's office does, and conservation, I think, does. I have created one, but I have to get it certified before I can use it, and honestly, I have not had time
Okay,
with
that's
only
fine.
3 people.
Not everybody uses Facebook, Right. but
Yeah.
I do. I get, Wapello has one. I set up when we were up there, and a lot of information comes from that. There's a lot of followers on that particular.
Well,
And I
if
think
we
you go
had
through that to
IT
watch the
down
video.
here, if we had an IT person here. Working 5 days a week, this is stuff that,
He would be doing it.
He would be
You're-
doing.
I know, and
yeah,
how come we don't?
it's outsourced.
It's money. Lots.
Was it money when you outsourced it at the time? Was that the reason?
professionalism, it's something that you just can't bring somebody in and keep them stagnant. It changes so fast. And so we're bringing somebody that has technology based that can update, stay with the times and changes. So.
Couldn't share that with another county.
We looked at it. As a matter of fact, counties come here and evaluated their IT.
Yeah,
Nobody wanted it, Des Moines or Muscatine,
I think there was 15 from the state came in here.
with an ISAC committee.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
we've looked into it quite a bit.
I'm sure.
and 5 or 6 years ago. It would have
Yeah,
been
it
with
goes
this
by,
RS.
yeah.
So it was 5 or 6 years ago, it probably wasn't money then at the time, I guess.
No, it was, we had about,
Oh, I'd say money.
We had-
always the top.
we had about 50 computers that was their 08 program was gonna be gone
It
in
was
the next
used when
6
we bought
months. And we went from one server to with cameras on our officers, we went from one server to about 7. We went to offsite storage instead of everything at the courthouse. So we
Just need to do a little bit more.
we kind of turned that. It was a very antiquated system. We really turned it around.
One quick thought, John, while it's on my brain here. We had a complaint about the treasurer's office and the appointment. Think of the hardship that creates for senior citizens and folks that they have to come to town on Tuesday, but we can't get an appointment to the treasurer's office until Friday, the 33rd of the month.
A lot of them,
Something's gotta
a
change.
lot of them are still stuck in their old ways, so you're right, they'll show up and walk in thinking they can do it, and then they're
Like they always.
told, no, you gotta wait 2 or 3 weeks, and
So if you're booked out a month, there's that many appointments that are filled?
apparently.
I would say in terms of like public notice, being 30, I'm 30, so there's people younger than me that just rely on social media. I would go to Facebook and I would go to a website to look for things,
Yeah,
Or streamline our website, have a page just for meetings. and public
agendas
notice.
and
Yeah.
minutes.
yeah,
That
I
would
agree.
be-
Good point about the phone call or the phone number of having access. What,
Let's let more of the people in the county know who they can contact to institute change.
just in general, or if they had a specific question about an office?
No, I'm talking about in general concerning this appointment bill. with
this
the
specific-
key is 14.
Okay, okay.
Including it in detail.
Yeah, the person and contact number in Des Moines that we need to say, hey, this isn't working, what do we do to fix this?
And people need to have a reason for why it isn't working, so,
Yeah.
they can't just call and complain if they don't have an example of the hardship it caused them.
Well, and in the same tune, I don't always like, well, that's what we're told to do, so that's, okay, that's fine.
That's like
but
public notice.
It's not working for us, so what
Right.
do we do to fix those things? Yeah,
Did you say board of supervisors posts in the Hawkeye and Journal?
Yes.
and I agree, they get kind of lost in the paper, cause I'll say the same thing, and wife says, oh, go back in the paper, it's probably in there, and you through, I don't see it, then she'll go, what's right here? Well, hell.
And to save money, the prints.
They can't make it any smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that. We did that years and years ago to save money.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of money being spent through the budget on stuff like that, so.
Well, it's
Yeah.
75% of our budget.
Yeah,
for
I know.
supervisors.
What's that?
Yeah. Well, I think we could look into more of a social media thing and that might help.
I also believe that we ought to have one meeting at night. I mean, this business will hold meetings at 8:30 on a Monday morning. On attacking things either wrong.
Yeah. I agree. Cause when I was a supervisor, it was difficult to show up.
Yep.
Yeah.
We tried it years ago and nobody showed, but times
Sometimes
have
you gotta
changed.
try more than once if you're gonna be successful.
So where are we gonna go? We gonna have our IT. It's like build a page that's for meetings only. So they don't have to go in through several sections to look at each layer.
It could just be a link on the homepage, just the button that
Meetings.
you click and bang, it takes
That's
you
with our
right to.
big imprint, that wouldn't be with IT,
It takes you right.
because
to
I
where you need to go.
maintain the,
Can you do it, or do we need to have him do it?
I'll see what I can do, his big imprint. I can talk with him,
But if you can't, we can get him to do it,
yeah, but he doesn't mess with our,
but he could.
Yeah.
You get
well,
one.
he can't,
Yeah.
yeah, as much as he
I agree. Go to the website, click a button,
Yeah, we'll start there.
even if it's tab, you know,
See how it
supervisors, what, public health, whatever.
This is not gonna be a one and done decision. This is gonna be working
An
on.
ongoing process.
Oh, it evolved for years.
Yeah.
Cause something else will come up that people start accessing and you'll have to go that
It
direction.
just has to remain a priority.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And pass that on to the new board.
I think the new board, when they come in here, we're probably gonna need to have a work session and try to get everybody up to speed. Cause it's, for me, when I walked in here, it was a year of. What the heck is going on, you know, and I think a work session or something to bring the other two will. Pay big dividends.
Anything else on that matter? Paul?
The notes I'm taking are, to follow up, see if we can update the website to have an upcoming meetings agenda page. I think that's great advice and one that I'll share with my other clients to say, hey, this is a great idea. Potentially, I'm thinking of pulling together a department head meeting, to talk about HR things and bring this up as well. And then talk to that group about encouraging a Facebook site. As noted that the younger folks, that's where they get their information. I don't think there's any harm if I contact the newspapers and say, hey, can you make this more in a different location and readable? I've seen those things that I can't read them either.
My glasses can't read that.
I have to use my phone to do that, but at least to say, hey, let's have a starting point, get the department head meeting together, see if they can help solve the problem. And then get that one place on the website as well.
Suggestion, why can't we have a countywide email? Those people sign up, hey, give me your email address and we will send you a notice of upcoming meeting. Or for everybody, we've already got an email address, send it out to them and say, if you wanna opt out, then reply stop. But the more we can get that out, the better off the county will be.
And I do have a couple counties that have some sort of, I'll look into that as well, that, as an example, I know Union County does that. Where they have something that you can sign up for, I think it's via text, but they'll text out courthouse is closed at noon today, or we have a holiday on Monday. The last date to get your file a claim in the assessor's office is on this date, but they use it for that kind of.
And we're one of the few counties that uses YouTube channel. We have our own channel and that's out, every meeting's live, so. We're trying, but we got more to do, so I agree with you. That's, I want to be as open as possible.
So I think I'll dive into that, get a department head meeting together, and then
Sounds great.
another meeting, come back and kind of present our results.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Paul.
Anything else? Okay, moving forward. Leah,
Thanks, Al.
thanks. Thanks, guys, for the update. Yes.
just a couple of things, I guess, here.
Pictures. Right.
Yeah, and I apologize, they're a little bit smeary, we're having trouble with our blue ink.
There's nothing in the budget for that, so.
I don't think it's the ink itself, I don't know what it is.
Don't say me for.
No, I don't think so, I think it's just. I don't know, it's just old or. The ink. First one, this little piece of paper, Brandy and I have worked on a public health newsletter that we want to try to do monthly and send out, and this was our first one. It's two-sided, we're just kind of looking at, what's going on in our department and just health information that we think is useful for people in our community. Let's see, I've sent it out Cindy is a good resource for getting information out to people with our interagency, so she has sent it out, and then we've also taken. One to each one of our patients at this time. We're looking into posting it and putting it other places, and we did put it on our Facebook page, so. So you guys should know that's out there. Any questions about that?
No, it's.
Okay. And then, the other thing I gave you is our annual report. And it's from 22 to 23. Apparently, they're usually a little bit behind. I'm even farther behind because I didn't know that they need to be done sooner, so. I did present them to the Board of Health already. I can kind of go through it a little bit with you. Just give some general stats about our public health office. Talks about our kind of HIP, which is our community health needs assessment and health improvement plan. Talks about the activities we've done in emergency preparedness. A lot of these don't change a whole lot. These are just our standard activities that we're doing all the time. And then you can look down at communicable disease surveillance on page 2. And I just give you a report of the diseases that have been looked at by our agency. Some of these, the Iowa Department of Public Health does the interviews. Some of them we do the interviews. It kind of just depends on the diseases and what it is. When that happens, we do follow up with the patient, make sure they're getting treated with anything they need, and then we help prevent them from spreading it if it's something that's communicable. On page 3, it talks about our TB infection program. And this is just something in, as public health, if we have an active TB case, it's our responsibility to follow up with them, do any of their testing, and we provide daily medication to them, and we watch them take that, and that's prevention of having that go out to anybody else. If it's a latent, which is where they have infection, but they're not contagious, we also provide free medication from the state. But we do that at a monthly basis, and it's just they follow up with us to make sure that they're not having any trouble with it and that they complete the program.
Lee, when you have an active case that do you post it on the door in case they have rescue workers or anybody? They used to have it where you posted that on their door.
That is not a requirement that I know of. I get all my direction from IFPH.
Yeah, I just wonder with rescue workers coming in if they're not aware. Because we did that first early on in COVID.
I can check into what the requirements are. There might
Just
be.
protects all of our rescue, law enforcement that they come into contact if they're able to transmit.
Okay. Next section after that is our immunization program. Talks a little bit into 22-23. We're ending kind of our COVID-19 vaccine. So in the numbers, you'll see that they were decreased a little bit from the year before. As far as how we gave them on page 4, have our little chart. You can see the significant drop from 21-22 to 22-23 in the COVID vaccines. And then, so total in 22-23, we gave 921 vaccines that whole year. And the significant drop in the total is based on the COVID-19 vaccines going down. The next little chart is our school immunization audit. So every year we go around to every school and every daycare and we audit all the vaccine records, make sure the kiddos are up to date. If they're not, we give them a 60-day provisional to get them up to date. And then it's up to the school nurses to do follow-up after that because we don't see them again until the following year. And we work pretty closely with the school nurses and they kind of work with us. And we've done lots of work in that over the years, getting that. Every year it seems like the numbers get a little better. So we'll talk about environmental health. It just kind of talks about what they do there, the wells, the septic permits, anything complaints, full tattoo and tanning inspections. The next section on page 5 is home health services. In 22-23, we had 894 skilled nursing visits total. And that includes nursing assessments, management of chronic diseases, medication setup, IVs, wound care, those kinds of things. The home health aide homemaker, they completed 1,153 visits in that fiscal year. And our cleaning services, which is our homemakers, completed 1,310 visits over that fiscal year. It does talk about our newborn home visiting program. It's been several years since we've even had any of these visits. Part of that is due to no hospital, so we don't get the referrals. People can always call if you know, friend, family member, neighbor, niece, granddaughter, whatever, having babies, you know, somebody can always give us a call. We're more than happy to go out and we do a weight check, do some vitals on the baby, give a bunch of nutrition information to mom, make sure that she's having no concerns. We have little goodies that people have donated and that we put in our closet, that we can take out to mom. It's just a one-time visit, just as a little check on mom and baby to see how they're doing, help provide a resource. Page 7 just goes through the revenue. That was, for that year, talks about where our big percentage of revenue comes from. You know, a big portion is Medicaid, VA, private insurance, those kinds of things, is the big funder of our home health program. And then you can see in the little graph, 66% of public health revenue comes from home health, 34% is from the public health side of things. And then on the back page is our expenditure by source. A big portion of expenditures is salaries, as most departments are. Any questions?
Thank you.
And then we wanted to report that we are continuing the mosquito trapping grant this year. Still waiting on that information to come to me for sure, and then we'll get the traps out. And I am talking with Muscatine County. They are talking about maybe coming into our county to do some lead testing monthly. So I'm meeting with her tomorrow to see how that's going to work out.
Is that on homes?
No, this is for children. It's required for kindergarten.
Oh, testing the children herself. Okay.
So just, a lot of kiddos go to their doctors, but if they aren't able to get in and they have to get the requirement done, then we want to be able to provide that for them.
Sounds good. Anything, guys?
No.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Can I give you one that has the signatures on it? Is that all?
Yes. Back page.
Yeah.
But I got our signatures on mine and hers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's a private chair, just that it was reviewed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for your update, Leo.
Oh, I see that.
Okay.
John, I think we voted with you. Brian's not here yet.
Yeah, he is.
I'll see you
Oh,
later
is he on-
today.
He's
Online.
on Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Brian,
There he
Yeah,
is.
there he is. Thank you. For him to be around.
Brian, we can't hear you.
You see your lips moving. Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
There you go.
I throwed my back out. It- They got me on some good drugs, but it ain't. But the main reason I want to talk to you about is the Muscatine Island. We've had issues down there for quite some time. Well, me and Anthony Kirker from the DNR went down and cited 18 houses. And unfortunately, one of them was Louisa County's. So I guess we got to clean it up. That's the only thing I could say is if I'm going to cite these people to clean up theirs, we got to clean up ours.
Well, the information that I saw, it had some stuff on our property and it was burning too.
Yeah.
We're not burning, are we?
No, we're not. I know.
Nobody else is.
I could tell you the neighbor that's doing it, but he won't admit to it. When I knocked on his door, he said, "Well, I don't know who did it. What do you want me to do now?" I mean, we could get the law involved if you want to, they can go down there.
So the satellite picture that I saw had stuff on it, but I couldn't tell what it was. Is it?
A lot of it's tires and other stuff. I mean, it's just a little burn pile and it's got some junk around it. I went down and tried to find it's not like they're burning their trash, because I couldn't find their name on anything.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, had them down there and.
I just
I guess.
want to get it cleaned up and let them know that we're doing our part as far as the county goes. I know we didn't make the mess, but and I'm serving all these letters to these people
Yeah,
to clean it up,
Yeah.
and if we don't clean up ours,
I mean, we're gonna clean it up, but let's go ahead and get Brandon notified. And then that way they can put some, investigative eyes on it, and then also too, it's also gonna be watched. And then.
I totally agree with that.
I don't
Yeah,
just clean it up and then have it come back. We gotta get law enforcement involved in it.
I think so too. There's only so many things I could do, which I talked to Sean at the Board of Health meeting, and I showed him the letter that we sent for the tires out there on the road by Sean's place. And this Anthony Kirker, he's a go-getter. I mean, he wants to get it done, so he sent, well, we sent 18 letters and we got 10 responses, which is very good. So we're getting it cleaned up.
Yeah. Well, we can lead by
But
example, I guess.
we got to do our part too. And I know we didn't make the mess, but we still have to deal with it, I guess.
Had them down there with an end loader or something and clean it up. I mean,
There is something, Menga could come down with their pickup and two guys throw in the back.
Yeah. There's a bunch of tires that they put like a curb in there. So they buried them about halfway deep on the side of the road. I don't know. Must have been something back in the day, but there's probably 20 some tires there. Plus what you can see in the pictures around the burn pile.
Yeah, I think we'd almost have to use county.
Yeah. And put it in the dump truck and then take it somewhere. You're ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be a dump truck load.
Yeah. All right.
And the other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is I got a letter from Thomas Miller. He's wanting to buy the Woodland Mobile Home Park.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him several times, and I know Sean's talked to him.
Yeah.
And he sent me an email, which I'm going to send to you guys and let you guys look at it before I go any farther with it. But he's wanting to fix it up and do everything. But in the same token, that's what everybody says. Everybody lies to you. I mean,
That's what I told him, Brian. I said, we've been told this a lot. I'd have to have it in writing and insurances before we. And he agreed. He didn't argue.
Yeah, just go in front of the Board of Adjustments and I give him a special exception for it.
I told him that the next time he was down that you, me, whoever need to get into a room and sit down and talk.
Exactly.
And start hashing it out, not just having emails or mobile phones.
Yeah.
For buying.
I agree totally, but I mean, it's just,
because I think
I don't know what else to say.
He wanted it rezoned, didn't he?
Yeah, he wasn't putting the city limits.
Yeah, the city, and he wanted city sewer and water, and I couldn't speak for the city, but
No.
boy, you're gonna have to prove yourself. You can't just ask and get something done.
Exactly. That's what I said too.
Yeah.
I mean, we've went through too many owners that's had it.
Yeah.
And I just told him,
He acted like he would welcome a meeting with us, so I haven't heard anything since, but. Guess that's his job to follow up, not ours.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, everything that he's put in his email, it sounds great. You know, we need more affordable homes. I mean,
Yeah.
heck, I rent my trailer out for $900 a month.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I live on the river and it's a nice place to live. I mean, it's not like you got neighbors or nothing.
Well, from what he told me, he was gonna take half the trailers out of there, and I thought, well, you probably need more than that, but that's.
He said 15 anyway.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
other than that, guys, I guess I'll send you this. I'll forward this email to Selena, and then she could send it to you guys. So I only got some of your emails. I know I got a couple of them, but I'll send it to her, and she can forward it to you guys. You guys could look at it.
Okay.
I just wanted to make you aware of it
Okay.
before I go in front of the zoning board.
Sounds good.
Brian, are you gonna zoom into the public health meeting tonight?
Oh,
You forgot.
yeah, I forgot about it.
That's okay. 5:30.
Yeah, I got
Your meeting too, the zoning meeting?
a zoning meeting too tonight,
What time's that?
6:30.
Okay.
I've had several calls on it. It's about the windmills.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'll see what I can do. You guys take care.
Okay. Get better.
Still.
I'll see you later.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Bye.
No, just one of them is, vacant on FEMA properties.
Down at Rogers and that kind of area.
John, I wanted to ask you a question on that. When you saying you just having a meeting with it, or is this the person that's looking at buying?
Yeah,
I'm kind
yeah,
of confused.
Yeah, the person that's supposedly buying it, the same guy that he was talking to, he's calling me, he's calling the city, he's calling Brian, which he's contacting the correct people, but. And he's saying all these great things that he's gonna do, he's gonna take out all these trailers, we know there's a water problem out there, that's why he wants city water, and I said, well. I'm sure they would, but they're not gonna do it unless you're probably within city limits, and they're hesitant to do city limits because there's been problems out there. They don't want the problems. He said, well, all those problems are gonna go away. It's like, well, yeah, we've heard that before.
But is it too much of an extension of government arm? I would never come to you guys, to any group, and ask permission to buy a property. And I'm just saying, to me, government's involved in too much of my life the way it is. I'm not gonna ask you for-
I don't see it that way, particularly whether or not he's buying it.
I don't think it's.
I mean, he needs to zone, he needs rezoning. There's some things that. he
Well,
wants done.
rezoning's another group, but that, I can see have a meeting with that, but as far as us giving blessings to buy it.
Oh, I'm not giving him any, well, that's up to him.
Well,
That's not up to us.
totally. And I would
So
never come
I'm
to
not
you.
entering in that kind of a conversation.
I'm just saying, I buy a lot of properties and I've never went to government agency. If I had to change, I might go to some people and say, hey, how do I go about doing it? But I just, to us give permission to weed out, somebody's, I know what you're trying to do, but I'm just against government involved in.
Yeah, but if he's gonna come to me and ask me a question, I'll answer his question.
Absolutely.
And that's,
But I ain't gonna tell them that you gotta do this, you gotta do that. That's, you know, let your conscience be your guide, but I just, to me, the government's too much involved in day-to-day activities, so that's just mine.
I'm not arguing that point.
Yeah.
I'm not approaching him, he's approaching me, so.
I'm with you. I'm just telling you how I feel.
Trying to solve some of the problems.
Right.
Shoot, Illinois is gonna build the Bears a new stadium, so what the heck?
Wow. Yeah, they got plenty of money.
Yeah.
Okay, it's 9:45, done.
Yeah, good
How are you
morning.
doing? Good.
Good, I'm fine, how are you?
Good.
Good. Good to see you all again and be here and be with you on your meeting day. couple of things I can mention quickly. First thing I talk about, last year, we were approached by a drainage clerk, who we're now calling drainage administrators, because I think it's more appropriate to what they do. And if you are ever at our annual meeting, you know that the drainage administrators have a breakout session during the annual meeting. And this person approached me and said, you know, it'd be really helpful if we could do that twice a year, as opposed to just during your annual meeting. So we set up a meeting last July in Fort Dodge. Had no agenda, had no registration fee. It was just, we'll show up, and if you want to talk about drainage, we'll talk about drainage. So it was myself, our attorney, and our lobbyist. And we just went in, and number one, I didn't know if we would have anybody show up. 5 or 10 people, and we had 3 hours blocked. I didn't know if we would have anything close to 3 hours of discussion. We got in there, we had about 25 people show up, and I think we could have gone all day. It was a very successful session, so we're doing that again this summer. That'll be July 18th in Fort Dodge. And again, we're looking at 3 hours and no preset agenda, no registration fee. It's just information that we're providing, and if you all want to come, or you have just hypothetically a new county auditor who wants to learn about drainage, who wants to be a good opportunity to do so.
Is it online?
It will not be online. You know, that's a problem we have with some of our meetings, because I'm the only employee of IDDA. And to put it online, I've got to worry about that in addition to everything else I have to do when attending the meeting. It's just difficult to do, so. That's the first thing. Secondly, our annual conference this year will be December 6th. That will be in Fort Dodge. And again, that is a half-day meeting. We generally get out of there by 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. One thing I talk about that may be near and dear to you all, we have now a group that has been meeting and talking about levies in the state of Iowa and the status of levies in the state. This comes out of legislative concerns, mainly related to western Iowa along the Missouri River, where you have a lot of levees out there that are not, they're not managed by the Board of Supervisors, they're managed by elected trustees. And you have situations that have come up in recent years where there's been a lot of flooding on that part of the state. And you have Iowa Homeland Security, who has obviously responsibilities when it comes to protecting the state, that is basically asking questions about what kind of condition are these levees in? And are they being maintained properly?
That's the Corps' job.
Pardon me?
That's the Corps of Engineers.
I know, and the Corps is involved too, but Homeland Security in this particular situation is really the one who's leading the charge on it. So number one, what Homeland Security is doing is they're doing an assessment of all levees in Iowa. They're doing a numerical assessment. They haven't said what that number is going to be, but I'm guessing best to worst and 1 to 5 or whatever. And the second thing is they created a cost share program. So if there are repairs that need to be done to that levee, there is state money available to do it. It is not a grant, it is a cost share, so there has to be local money involved too. And the third thing that came out of that group is they were going to create a legislative study committee, and there were people that thought that was going overboard and probably wouldn't be supported by the state legislative council. So they said, well, we're just gonna have a task force. Informal, not officially sanctioned by the state. So they have had a task force basically of individuals who are concerned about levies in the state of Iowa. You've got some Western Iowa legislators on it. You have a couple of people over there that are actively involved in managing levies that are, not supervisor run. You've got Homeland Security involved, Department of Agriculture, other state agencies. And they are basically looking at levy related issues with the idea of coming forth with recommendations to the legislature on what needs to be done. Frankly, I have sat in on all but one of the meetings. They meet about every 6 weeks. And I'm not sure exactly what they're doing. They're talking a lot. They're having a lot of discussion. And they're looking at a lot of issues, but I'm not really sure what the goal is. And although we've been told otherwise, I'm a little nervous when you have Homeland Security playing the leadership role in the group that they are, what their design is on some of the on some of these levies, and whether they have said right out, one of the things you want to look at is governance. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean that you don't like having individual trustees running these levy districts? Does that mean you want to turn them all over to the county and have the county board of supervisors run them instead of the individual elected trustees? Does that mean you want to run them? You want to take them over? We don't know. But there is concern about what's driving the issues there. So we're monitoring that very closely. So far, I think we've had 5 meetings with another one coming up in a couple of weeks, and we'll see what happens. Legislature this year, we had about 20 pieces of legislation that we followed. That's about normal in terms of number. Looking back on the legislature, we didn't have any really big surprises, and that's good. The one bill that we did have filed was Senate File 2151. That was filed by Senator Guth, and that was about a 22-page bill that would have added a lot of verbiage to the drainage statutes. And when I see a bill come down relating to drainage, the first thing I do is print out a copy of the bill and read it, make a determination, what are they trying to do here? Is this good for us? Is this bad for us? Is it something we need to register on? Is it something we need to be concerned about? And my first reaction after reading all 22 pages of the bill was I really wasn't sure what the goal was. I mean, it was really all over the place. There were so many issues involved in it. It was like, it was almost like a casserole. It was like they took all these ingredients and combined them into one bill. And some of it looked like it was favorable, and some of it frankly looked like it was not favorable. And we ended up registering undecided on the bill. The one concern, I think the biggest concern we had about it is IDDA was successful several years ago in getting statutes amended that related to how much a repair could cost before you had to involve an engineer. And previously, if you had any drainage or level repair over $50,000, you had to have an engineer's report. And I had a lot of counties tell me, $50,000 goes by like that when you start talking about some of these repairs. We got that raised, and instead of putting a specific dollar figure in the code, we refer to competitive bid threshold. And that's set by a committee of the DOT, so you don't have to go back to the legislature every time you need to get the number changed. And that's currently at $196,000. And we know that we have saved landowners a lot of money by giving you all flexibility to do bigger repairs without having to get an engineer's report. I had supervisors tell me, you do a $60,000 repair and we get an engineer report, and all of a sudden we've got $100,000 repair or $120,000 repair. And this bill did make changes in how that number was determined and how it was used, put more restrictions on it. So we didn't like it from that perspective. We ended up registering undecided. Talking to our lobbyists, talking to our attorney, that what we were told, don't get too concerned, the bill's not going to go anywhere. There's too many people against it. They did have a hearing on it. Did not advance the bill out of subcommittee. I don't think they had a single vote in subcommittee to get the bill out. But there are, it's just an example. There are individuals out there that would like to see drainage statutes changed, and that's not always positive. Sometimes it is, but that's not always the case. Another bill that we looked at was Senate Bill 2331, and this goes back 2 years ago. There was a proposal made that related to not only drainage, but related to any public agency where you have to publish things as a result of giving notice to your taxpayers. Notice of hearings, notice of, whatever. And 2 years ago, they had a proposal that said, instead of having that published in your local newspapers, we're going to create a statewide website. And your auditor can send information to that website, and that website will be open to anybody in the state. And as long as you submit it to that website, you've met your publication requirements. Which is great, but of course, the newspaper didn't like that because they get a substantial chunk of money for publishing legal notices. So they raised a large fuss, as you might imagine, and the legislature felt the heat on that and backed away from it and came back with a bill this year that is still talking about creation of a statewide website for publications, but it's making it an option. So it's not going to take away your responsibility to publish in local newspapers. All it basically says is if you don't have a newspaper available to you that meets the requirements of the law, you could go to this website, but I don't think we've got any counties that are in that situation where they don't have something available. So the legislature backed away from that. I can see both sides of that issue. Publication costs are obviously substantial, and in the case of drainage, it's passed on to the drainage trustees. You have $6,000 to publish a drainage notice. That cost is billed back to the landowner in the district. So they're paying to receive information that they're already receiving, but as of now, that's not going to change. So with that, I'd be happy to respond to any questions.
I have one. What is the Department of Homeland Security's qualifications to work on a levy?
Well, qualifications, I don't know, frankly.
I mean, I guess
they do have an obligation under state law to protect the state. flooding is one of their obligations, and obviously levies are part of that. But.
It's a bit of a rhetorical question,
I
but
was gonna add something in, so when there's a flood event, right, you've got your FEMA people that come down, and then there's also a state agent, ours, Gerald, does a lot of the helping and a lot of the state part of the grants and things like that, so they do generally Corps of Engineer types that got retired from the military and are working.
Usually they're ex-Corps of Engineer
Yeah,
people,
you know,
so they
so-
know something about it.
They're typically the good guys in the situation, whereas FEMA's kind of a wild card in some things, so,
And different people every week.
yeah.
it just seemed like another finger of government that's intertwining its way into.
With litigation, they was better than FEMA in '93 though, or we wouldn't have these lots with junk on it.
Yeah, my experience is the state guys are helpful, they wanna get things built, they wanna get things fixed, whereas FEMA folks are just contractors who don't know much of anything, so.
Well, we keep getting assurances that there's no hidden agenda.
Yeah.
And then the actions indicate otherwise sometimes. So we're gonna watch it very closely as always. Great.
Yeah, it's a lot of years of not funding improvements.
Yeah.
The problem.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think that's part of the governor's issue, and they've got some levies that are run by trustees that are inactive. And, you know, it's interesting, I go over once in a while, the only other state in the country that has a drainage association is Illinois. And I have gone to their annual meeting in Illinois. The drainage laws are sort of similar, but they're different in the sense that they don't have any county involvement at all. All the trustees are there are elected. And, you know, the one refrain that I constantly hear when I go over there is they have trouble finding people to do the job. Nobody wants to do it. And I think to me, that's one of the beauties of Iowa law is that you've got a government presence. You know, with respect to you all who run most of the drainage, you know, or the trustees of most of the drainage districts, I would say probably 98+% of drainage and levee districts in Iowa run by the county board of supervisors. So you've got government infrastructure, you've got supervisors, county auditor, drainage manager, county engineer, county attorney, all supporting the drainage function. And that makes it a lot better.
Just no funding to put toward it.
Yes, that's correct.
That's the bad part.
Yeah.
Any other questions for John? John, we're gonna keep moving. We still have a full schedule, but I appreciate you coming down and.
Good to be here.
Yeah. Thank
That
you.
siren is very annoying. Your siren's work in case you don't know.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, thank you all.
Hopefully testing only. Let's go ahead and, Adams, you go ahead and do your update, please. And then we'll do 15. How are we doing? We got our paperwork.
You got it. This morning we, began the day with some, training. Our, the Tiger mower arrived a couple weeks ago and, had the sales rep, come down and do the safety and proper operation of the machine. This morning for a couple hours, had jumped on the DOT's, Highway 92 update meeting, and talked to the engineer in charge earlier today. And, things are progressing, and that there's been some more complaints about kind of traffic sneaking in on the White Way going through Columbus City and Columbus Junction and getting lost. I was just down there yesterday, and there's a refrigerator truck and a couple of guys who didn't know where they were going there. So I think county will probably put up a couple more signs in Columbus City. The DOT, I finally got their attention to take a look at the dust control issue, Cotter and 165th. So that's in the works, and they're supposed to give me I guess a review and opinion on that soon. We had the question about speeds up there north of the viaduct, the other side of the railroad tracks, and we are going to take a look at that, probably just put county signs up there, even though it's their road for the next few months or so. It kind of sounds like the project is on pace. They are getting some drier weather and getting some things done. Mostly Hollander, next few weeks or so, maybe hauling rock and concrete out and rock in and stuff like that, so. Continuing on, maintenance wise, we kind of got a couple small projects done. We are getting into some ditching now and pipe work and stuff like that. What else, construction plans wise, I'm gonna submit the paving plans for, Grandview and G28 and all that here, hopefully this week, so. Good letting me in, November, so. So anyways, been busy on all that. Any questions, anything else going on out there? I did talk to the, Muscatine levy guy, that Josh Lay, I think he'll come by sometime this month or so, just to give it.
Who's this here?
Oh, okay, good, so, okay, good, great, so, and you know, you're updated on that, so. Other than that, I don't know.
We have your Eastern Iowa Light,
Yeah,
who's has like on
It's right
this.
here.
yeah, that's just a crossing up there on G44, so.
When you said they was crossing there, the semis not going across that crossing there, Powder, are they? Isn't that pretty high? Could they get hung up on that? That's pretty. steep.
Not as many semis, there are some that do it, but not as many there, a lot of people just driving
Doing
around.
the low one in there, that's pretty. steep.
Most of the semi issues we're hearing is in Columbus City and Columbus Junction. And I know both their council and mayors have both talked to the DOT. It's not the official detour yet, so they can't do anything yet.
Get
And
them
they're
up pretty quick.
claiming they've done everything they can on 218 to direct traffic, but. And maybe that's true, but once people know that if you're going from Mount Pleasant to Tyson, you're not gonna go up to
Not that
36
way.
around.
No.
So,
Good.
anyway.
It seemed like they're on schedule with this rain's kind of put them behind. Have you heard that as far as?
They're still planning on getting that phase 3, which is the X17 out to 218 done this year. If weather will hold up like this, maybe it'll happen. If not, I don't know, so. I haven't heard otherwise, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, you can't just monitor they're working because there's.
No, off the road, and we've got our own things going on too, so.
Yeah. Anything else?
Oh, nothing much, been meeting with some contractors, get some tank cars, set up for that Hewitt's Bridge out there on our avenue. Hoping to take that bridge down and put in 3 big tanks and which would remove the weight restrictions and open up the width and allow them to get planers and everything across it. Now I'm gonna be pretty when it gets done, but it's a fairly low volume road and it'll be effective, but maybe not pretty, so.
Don, do you have 13?
I've got it.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we sign Eastern Iowa Light and Power Cooperative's application for construction under the right of way to replace poles and board duct on the north side of 10601 County Road G44X.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Where's the exact location of that in?
On G44X, you know where our prairie is there.
Yeah.
That's one of the, I think it's those grain bins across the,
Oh, okay.
on the south side of the road there.
Gotcha, okay. Everything good on it? All in favor?
Aye.
Tom?
I mean, yeah, sorry, I'm looking at papers here that aren't responding to what we're talking about.
Okay.
Oh, We got a big favor to ask of you. You,
Oh, me, yeah.
with DNR, we've got a complaint at a lot up at Reggie Myers about trash. And it's like we need an inloader and a dump truck to load up and dispose of some trash and tires.
So think about the favor is I'm prevented from using secondary roads funds on things like that. It's the law. Maybe somebody else could borrow it or something, you know, on free time or something, but I don't, it's not legal for us to do those kind of things, using our equipment on county time. County land? We're prevented from spending money outside of the right of way. So it's county land, but it's not secondary roads, you know, where our money comes comes out from the gas tax and all that, and we're really not supposed to do that. Maybe we can work something out or something, but I don't know, we'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll
Gray areas for sure, so.
What about the conservation group? Maybe they can.
We'll work on her.
They'll get a smaller budget.
Which is
we'll
the
work
reason
on
why
that.
we're prevented from doing such things, because people say, well, you guys have that much money. Well, for it, so.
Okay.
I think, we get there, we have some
Yeah.
service awards. It's very important that we get this done. Guys come up. And, all three of us.
Do I need to help you up, Jerry?
Yeah, 25 years, Jerry might need some help up here.
No, he'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah,
You bet.
congratulations.
Thank you.
It really means a lot, but lifetime bet. Come on back here, guys. Okay, we're presenting, 2 awards, to some, long-term employees, and that is very rewarding. That Jerry's been with the county for 25 years. Casey's 15. Look at, you got 10 more years to catch up with them. Then you'll have 35. But no, appreciate you guys and really do, you know, so. You gonna do a picture?
Oh, it's Chris's. I didn't hear.
Well, I'm gonna do Chris's. You wanna do Chris? Chris has got 15 years, same time as you got.
He was here first. He was hired
That's it.
in August. I didn't get elected till November. I've heard this.
We heard it all now, so no, congratulations, Chris.
Okay.
Need to get you guys.
I'll give you a hug.
Yeah.
How's that? That better or not?
Can't anymore.
Very nice, covering up. I know, can't hide behind the chair.
Squeeze together a little more.
Squeeze together.
You know, chase them off a little bit, maybe stand your ground.
It's gonna be on the front page, guys.
One more.
On the 25th?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's about that, this, has to come.
Okay, I'll check it out.
And drop it to that in May.
Sure, I'll check it
I'm
out.
not supposed to be off the road, but.
But thank you, guys.
Jerry, both arms.
Really.
Yeah, 2 working arms again.
Yeah, shoulder. Yeah, that worked out good. Thank you.
So maybe
Well.
And that does mean a lot for long-term employees. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Never, I always forget to get a picture of it. Got one.
Well, I actually, the libertarian. rate,
Okay.
Yeah, the formal one, it looks better. And I did contact everybody.
Thank you. Sean. Yep.
You submitted.
Okay. We have once you get down there, we've got one on verbiage, that we have to do, it's number 14, and it should be stuff over
I
there.
got it, resolution
Yes.
20, okay.
And it's just a mistake, we have.
I'm gonna go ahead and prove the correct verbiage on resolution 202420.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second that.
any discussion?
What is that? That's really big. I mean, we got nothing.
Okay. You wanna go over that, or you want me to go over it? Thank you.
Well, this was the resolution about our budget amendments. That help?
It was done on an apportioning form and it needed to be on the amendment form.
We did it,
You wanna look at it, Randy?
I wanna know what it's about. I don't care to look at it.
Quite a bit of verbiage to it. It's like-
Yeah.
If it was the wrong
Resolution
form,
was done.
if it was the wrong form, then that's fine. I get it.
the numbers haven't changed any, darn it.
But from what they're online, man, it didn't mean anything.
Well, I know what you mean.
With this new one. Here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. One more.
Okay, on that law enforcement, I looked at all the mayors and the council signed, it, so that's the only thing I have on there, so it's just formality for us. And what that actually is it's our contracts with each individual city, it has requirements for patrol time and cost, I don't wanna. Yes,
Did you vote on that?
No.
You had discussion.
no, I'm just telling you what we got right here in front of me, because there's 5 pages, we gotta vote on it, but I just wanted to know what we're looking at, there's quite a bit to it.
For the last one.
Yeah, we voted on it.
Did you?
Yeah. I think, because that's the one I asked Sean was reading, I think that's the one I asked him, yeah. So the law enforcement thing there, I want to get them cost on there too, because I know it's changed, here's the old cost.
There's summary pages, everybody ready for a motion here, or it shows how much they changed? I'll make a motion to approve the law enforcement agreement between the 5 towns in the county.
Got a second on that, Sean? And we'll go to discussion.
I'll second that.
Okay, now we'll open up the discussion on it.
Well, it's like that summary page kind of shows. We've always kind of did it, if the price of labor goes up, the contract goes up accordingly.
And what I had on here is Oakville had 196 residents, 730 for Morning Sun, Lutz 357, Grandview 441, and Fredonia 218. Any discussion? If not, all in favor? Motion passed.
And the rest of it, this will go into the rest of it.
Oh, that one. Okay, also the Morning Sun ambulance, you both received a copy of that, you had a chance to review it.
Yeah.
Sean, you looked at yours.
Waffle's contract's not in here. Unless they're still under contract.
Waffles
It's
is
different.
under 15 years.
They're under-
all right, yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah, they're-
just trying to double check, that's all I'm trying to do.
Do we wanna do that fireworks permit? Did I hand them over to you? You better hand that back to them.
I don't have a fireworks permit.
Well,
You do.
I do. Well, I thought I handed them over to you, to Sean. Here they are. You want to do them?
Sure.
Cause we'll do both in one motion.
I will if you want me to. I have two fireworks permits here, one for David Hills.
Correct.
And one for Brian and Tammy Hayes. David Hills is between July 3rd and July 7th, and Brian and Tammy Hayes is between July 4th and July 6th. I will make a motion to approve the fireworks permits.
Okay, I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Chris?
Aye.
Motion passed. Thank you. Okay, I think. We have that reschedule.
16.
Yeah, and I know we're gonna take this. Payroll. Transfer station, I don't think there's any other, we have number 16, you have that one? It's a approved service agreement participants on the ISAC and HIPAA. I handed that to ask you guys, I don't know if you still have it over there.
Is that underneath your DM?
This is renewing our HIPAA
Yeah.
agreement with ISAC.
We do that yearly.
Yep. It's a. Yep,
Most important part is they get their fee, I guess.
well, it's a lot cheaper than what it used to be when we contracted out.
I'll make a motion to accept the, where are we at, 16?
16.
Service agreement to participate in the ISAC HIPAA program for fiscal year 2025.
I'll second that.
As the cost.
1750.
Yeah, it's the same.
Okay, any more discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Passed.
It looks like it's just one signature. By Louisa County, so. Whether that's the auditor or the chair, I don't know.
Under business.
I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
We're adjourned.
That was brutal.
It was fine because.
Minneapolis is
You're
trying
not
to sell
part
our
of that.
bond.
I'd sign it.
Yeah, they're gonna figure out where they're gonna go. Look at the homework. What it would cost you.
Well, I don't think that.
Then we got another one. But it's just, look at the whole.
Well, I had a talk to I was asking him. Yeah, I would have to say no on this.
Yeah, I think I must have been right now when you did that.